I recently retired from a career in banking, half of it in international, focused on South America, and half of it financing large buyouts with loans of 10 million to a billion. So kind of the merger and acquisition game. I've done some consulting for the World Bank in establishing a certain type of lending in Mexico City or in Mexico, which would be a template to take to other countries that have secured lending laws. So let me give you the background of our presentations that we have this morning, or your presentations this morning. So first there will be a 10-minute presentation. You've been called back by the company for a second visit after giving your full presentation previously. They have asked you to speak only about the ethical aspects of the problem and to explain why your solution successfully handles any ethical issues. You will have 10 minutes. There will be no Q&A. You may not use slides or video. You probably don't want to have more than 2-3 of your members of your team do this. Okay, after that, it will be followed by a 90-second presentation. And this presentation wants you to imagine that you are an employee of the company and you encounter an executive who asks why sustainable development is important and how that is linked to the team's topic. You have 90 seconds in which to convince the executive why this needs to be addressed. One member of the team will do this. Okay, so now it is in your hands. So I'm ready when you are.
First of all, good morning. My name is Tristan Brink, and I represent TCM Tourism Consultants. With substantial research behind us, we firmly stand on the ground that tourism is a major ethical tool to uplift communities around the globe out of poverty. Our firm is addressing SDG 1, since as soon as poverty is eliminated, we can address the other SDGs far more easily. You can help end poverty, starting with a mere $1 million investment. It sounds too good to be true, but we are making a stride that practically no other hospitality group has ever considered. Now, the tourism industry is blissfully unaware of the impact it could have on our globe and should have a more ethical approach, really dumping hotels randomly. Tourists nowadays are interested in resorts that are ethical towards local cultures and topographies. We at TCM find that not only as a great selling point, but as an impactful one to improve the quality of life across the globe, one community at a time. Tourism is such an empowering tool. Practically every city and country desires and thrives from this industry, bringing in revenue as an export to improve their communities. Now, I have a great passion for this industry because it is all about joy and exploration, and to use it as a means of ethical development is pure gold. Now, the power of this industry in one of the poorest countries in the world, especially if it promotes a dwindling culture, could be phenomenal. So as a beginning venture, we propose developing a resort near Punta Gorda on the island of Roatan in Honduras, the poorest country in Latin America, alongside the Garifuna indigenous people. Now, the Garifuna is a tremendously rich yet unrecognized culture, and most importantly, this indigenous group is incredibly welcoming towards tourists. Spontaneous hotel development does bring in plenty of risks that other hotel venues fail to consider. Overwhelming and erasing weak cultures with hordes of tourists, and even stealing land from natives are a couple of the unethical faults that the hospitality industry has been guilty of. However, both dangers can easily be avoided if we continue to uplift and motivate their cultures by moving alongside the Garifuna in this case. With their consent and advice throughout our entire operation, we can ensure that our resort doesn't overstep our boundaries. And to further invigorate their cultures, the experience that we are trying to share with the rest of the world isn't a typical beachfront vacation. The focal point of this project is to bring people into the world of the Garifuna. And with that being our motivation, rather than unethically pushing them aside, we hope to bring immense pride towards the culture of Punta Gorda to keep it alive and strong. By ethically enriching their culture, along with any other society that we intend to help after this project, we are providing our hosts the most impactful tool to address the causes of poverty: cultural pride. Now, I'll pass the presentation on to my colleague, Chris Padilla, who will go into further depth about the economical prospects of our hotel.
Yes, thank you so much for that amazing introduction, Tristan. As you've heard, we are building an amazing resort here on the beautiful island Arrotal, specifically in Punta Gorda. When prior hotels and venues have done a project like this, they have overworked their employees, not giving them correct pay, and overall don't focus on wages, employment, poverty, or education, and it ruins the resort. This is why here at TCM, we are going to do this differently. The culture, the economy, the education, and ending poverty is going to be one of our main goals here at TCM. This is that's why we want to make sure at this resort, we want to make sure that we bring in the community closer and educate them for a better lifestyle. Here at TCM, we are planning to have 60 employees between the restaurants and hotel. That is your basic standard for all luxury hotels, with a ratio from one employee to one room as a standard. We are going to have independent contractors, which include your deep fishing tour guides, your spa workers, and all the other tour guides that we have available on the resort. When it comes to education, we feel very passionate about it here at TCM. That's why 6% of our revenue will go to funding schools, which is $118,000 a year. That's a simple $10,000 extra just in 1 month. With that money, we will be able to build better facilities, provide them with better supplies, better pay for the teachers, and of course, a bigger pathway for higher education. This is why we need $1 million to get this project going, get everything built, fabricated, and of course, help out the community. This might sound like a lot, but we are projecting that within 7 to 10 years, you will receive your initial return within that time. And then every 7 years, you will get 1 million back. After the 65-year lease is over, we will give the property back to the Garifuna people, which we are not taking away from. We want to give it back to them so they can keep on continue and growing it and making it even more successful within the community. The reason why we feel so passionate about education is because we've all seen poverty and education, lack of education firsthand. Personally, me being born in Mexico, I've seen poverty, how much it affects people and how much it affects overall lifestyle. With friends I've grown up with since I was 4 years old, I've seen how the lack of education has led them down the road of poverty and down the road of the same road their parents took, which is why it affects me so personally. But I want to see that change, and I want to be that change along with my colleagues here. Now, let me send it over to my amazing team member, Matt.
Thank you, Christopher. My interest in this project is to be part of pioneering and engineering the methods used to ethically lift people out of poverty by using hospitality practice as a catalyst. We at TCM will use ethical sound practices to usher in our tourism product and its environmental design. Poverty is the #1 problem our world deals with, and we should be motivated to help in a way that best suits our talents. To combat poverty, a simple gesture like throwing money at the problem is not the ethical way. People in poverty need to find a way to produce funds from the resources they have and produce something customers would want to buy. The hospitality industry is a great source of income, and its bounty can be ethically produced from the very people we are trying to help. Our plan here at TCM is to offer a tourism product and implement a profit structure that helps the natives to the most possible degree. That is, helping them to bring in an outside source of income and to use that income to educate themselves out of poverty. A full-service hotel built into the backdrop of the tropical and fused with the local culture would help to elevate the Garifuna not only to educate themselves, but educate others that choose to visit. Government is usually an obstacle, but the Honduran government is looking for someone to partner with to use and develop the land. For their participation in this project, they'll receive 10% of the income we produce for the lease, and in doing so, will be a partner in our endeavor. Honduras has minimal building restrictions, and even though we would be building with structural safety in mind, the limitations lacking would help in build in shorter time periods. Our prefabricated accommodations are factory made and can be installed in as little as 3 weeks. As soon as they are ordered, the concrete can be poured, and by the time they arrive, the foundation will be ready for installation. We could be open and ready to receive guests 3 months after we break ground. But according to the research, there is a growing attraction to the eco-friendly hotel. Tourists are choosing sustainability more and more, and this trend should ethically guide any new hospitality ventures in the future. The point of this project is to help this civilization thrive, and that can only be done with fundamental changes on 2 dimensions. The first is to gain a snapshot of the culture in its present state. The second, to change its posterity fundamentally with university preparatory curriculum. Self-sufficiency goes beyond just the cistern and solar cell. Socially, it's the professionals that inhabit the land that help its civilization. If we are to have a hand in this change must be ethical and pursued. The change we must be responsible for is a change that makes available to future generations the professionals needed to provide and the means to provide and the means to attain them. The guest-host relationship and its implementation takes time to develop. The Garifuna need to learn to produce the welcoming spirit they wish to find in the world when pursuing university. Now I'd like to reintroduce you to Tristan for a conclusion.
Thank you tremendously, Matthew. Now, hotels and venues must consider the social, economic, and environmental impacts of their hosting communities in order to be considered ethical. Gone are the days where vacation spots prioritize lounging at the resort. Here at TCM, we pledge to twist the hospitality industry into an uplifting export that can help flourish and preserve the culture of the Garifuna than every culture on the planet. And in order for this project to be a success for everyone, we need to ensure that every step we take remains ethical. Thank you so much for your time.
Very good. The topic that you chose, I thought was great. I think anything to help poverty is a good thing. Tristan, I have to say, I don't agree with you though on that lounging at the beach is gone forever. If I talk to you in 30 or 40 years, I'll see if you really want to do eco-friendly and not lounge on the beach. But your concept, I thought, was very good too, and especially the fact of having the people not be given things, but earn things, giving them jobs and education. It was really earn your way out and education, make them part of the process, because I absolutely do think you need local buy-in. Local buy-in and makes it more successful instead of just Big Brother coming in and telling them how to do things. So I thought you laid out the financial aspect, the investment and the repayment, and then giving them, once investors were repaid, giving the land back. I thought it was a unique concept and something that definitely helps now and in the future. You're teaching them how to be you're trying to be a change agent with self-sufficiency. And I thought that was very good, and that your sustainable goal was education for the children. This was really to focus on the ethical, which I think you did, and the sustainability. I thought you guys were all passionate about the subject. And if you don't believe in something yourself, I think it's hard to sell it. And it was obvious you believed in this and felt it was important for the world. I do think you're right in that people will maybe not for their whole vacation, but maybe part of it, you look at something that's very local. And I think if there's local artisans that make local products, even better, but something that gives them a flavor for the culture of the country, which I think you pointed out. So you did a good job. Christina, just for future presentations, I would speak a little bit louder. Now, we all have these technical issues with Zoom, so a couple times it got stuck, but you know, that's the way life is with using Zoom. But I thought everybody did a good job in covering their part. And as I said, I think your enthusiasm for the project and belief in doing good for the world is, came out in your presentations and was definitely convincing.